on his campus in this lovely room. And also a big thanks to the members of the organizing committee who put on this event, and to the chapter presidents who also had a big hand in getting people here, and as always to the staff for helping us organize. And not to forget our honored guest who we hope to meet later. President Ray of CSU is one of those. First of all, I'd like to explain why we're here, and this will be very simple and short because the most important thing is our student and alum speakers. We are here because sometimes in the business of this meeting and that, this committee and that, strategic planning, scrambling for resources, we forget the true reason that we're all working here together, and that is our students, who later become our alumni. This evening is a timely opportunity to hear from those very important individuals themselves, and I thank them for coming out in the cold to do that. I think that you'll see that these presenters tonight exhibit what was recently referred to in an issue of Academe as students who've learned habits of mind for engaged citizenship, civic mindedness, and the ability to mediate among competitive viewpoints and interests. So I'd also like to explain the format. This is what's going to happen. They're all looking at a run sheet, but I'll just tell you briefly. We're going to go alphabetically by university, and the alumnus or alumna from each of the respective universities will speak first, and then the graduate student, and then the undergraduate. So it will be, let's see, do I know my alphabet? That is Central first, Eastern, and so on. Okay, so let's welcome our speakers.
Can everyone hear me okay? Thank you very much for having me. My name is Michael Markowitz. I am a 2003 graduate of Central Connecticut State University and 2006 graduate of Harvard Law School. I am a lawyer. I was born and raised in Rocky Hill, Connecticut. Today I live right across the river in Glastonbury, Connecticut, where my father was a high school teacher for 40 years. I represent municipalities and educational institutions for a law firm called Murtha Kalina, which is, by Connecticut standards, a pretty big law firm. I work alongside about 140 other lawyers. I am sure that the folks who invited me here today would love for me to tell you about my life today, because it's an unbelievably happy ending. I am happily married, happily employed. I have the cutest little 16-month-old you've ever seen. But in addition to the history and political science majors that I did complete at CSU, I also came within 2 classes of an English major. And I can tell you there is nothing more boring than a reliable narrator, a happy ending, all that stuff. So let's talk about when I got here. When I got here, I was all ability and no results. I coasted through high school. I coasted through 2 years of undergraduate studies at a different national university where I was an A and B student without ever going to class, having any clue who I was or what I wanted to be. And I got to Central after a couple-year break from that. I told you I graduated in 2003. I started taking classes here part-time in '96. So I liked it, and I stuck around for a while, hence the almost English degree. And what I wasn't missing anything in terms of technical proficiency, intelligence, anything like that. What I didn't have that I'm so thankful that I have today was a real love of learning. And I am so thankful to this university for helping me develop that. It is probably the characteristic that I value about myself more than any other today. And I wish I could tell you exactly how certain professors here did it. I mean, I had the most marvelous experiences with people like Paul Pedersen in political science and Kathy Hermes in history. Myself today, I am an adjunct faculty member at a nearby university, and I am constantly trying and failing to emulate them. And what I got at Central was really personal, individual attention, and really challenging scholarship to my own interests, needs, strengths, and more than anything else, weaknesses. And I absolutely loved it. And I figured out that being smart is really fun. And learning a lot of stuff is really, really fun. And I mean, to this day, I am constantly reading, learning, inquiring, trying to improve myself. I think I have decided finally what I want to be when I grow up, and that's a math teacher. So, hey, I'm not going to be 40 till next year. There's plenty of time. And I will be back soon to get a math degree, and there's nowhere I would rather do it than here. To kind of get to, really quickly, the kind of where I am now, I told you I'm a municipal and education lawyer, and I cannot, I have 30 seconds. I cannot explain to you how much the general liberal arts education that I got here has helped me in that regard. Last night, I was explaining to the town of Cromwell, for whom I serve as town attorney, the importance of their new charter. And I was explaining the power of initiative and the power of the charter as a bedrock of New England government. A couple years ago, I had the opportunity to depose a so-called expert in a dram shop case in which I used things that I learned in Statistics 101 at Central to just obliterate someone's theory that someone was intoxicated when he left my honest, hardworking family restaurant. And I think I'm way out of time, so I apologize for that. But I thank you so much for having me. The breadth and quality of education that I got here is something that I'm really confident I couldn't have gotten anywhere else. And really, really, the individual and personal attention I got from the most talented faculty members I could have ever encountered anywhere. I can't thank you enough for that. Unless you think, before I pass the microphone on, that perhaps by the time I got here I just grew up and kind of found my way. Not a chance. After I went to Central and enrolled in Harvard Law School, I continued to get A's and B's without really trying. So it wasn't me, it was you. And thank you so, so much.
Hello, my name is DeJean Mobley. Can you hear me? I just recently finished graduating from the Technology and Engineering Education program. Here, after countless years and time doing homework and stuff like that, I finally was able to put everything together and figure out what I wanted to do was really be a teacher. Technology and Engineering Education is one of the programs here that has offered me countless opportunities to get out of my comfort zone, to exchange ideas with other faculty and advocates and people like Dr. DeLore, helped me to grow into that aspect. One of the things that I really took to heart was their understanding of me getting ready to get deployed to Iraq in 2009. Before that, the semester was a little rocky because just even have an idea that you're leaving the country to do something that other soldiers have done is still something that took me aback. It took me a little bit of time to really get my ideas and my head in the game. And the faculty here really took notice of that and gave me a little bit more extra time for assignments and anything else that I needed. When I got back, though, I noticed that some of the issues with, I think the issue that I had to address was with the insurance waiver, because I had became a veteran, I was getting insurance with the VA, and there was a slew of people over in the Student Affairs office that actually listened to my ranting on how unfair it is that people that get VA health insurance should have to pay $400 without getting a waiver. And because of that, they went up the steady ladder of people until I actually just found out that October of 2012, the Board of Regents actually did put in a resolution so that the waiver could be authorized for active duty and veteran students. And that would not have happened if I had the slew of commitment of the people that work in this institution having my back as a student to actually lead the way to get something that changed. It's under, nobody knows what this is all about, and probably nobody even cared, but the fact that the faculty would listen to me and get things done, and then you guys were able to change something in 2012 is remarkable, and I'm definitely blessed that I'm at this school and had the opportunity. Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. I'm Heidi Eilenberger. I'm an undergrad here at CSU, and I actually want to go a little bit more in detail about what Michael was talking about how much the faculty here genuinely cares that we're learning and how you get that personal relationship with your professors. When I first started here, I knew that I wanted to do English, and I knew that literature was important to me, but it wasn't until Dr. Barrington volunteered to be my advisor and spent hours with me trying to figure out what it was that I loved about literature and what it was that drove me and what professors I could take that would be best fit for what I wanted to do and best fit for my personality and what I needed. And from there, Mary Collins, she cares enough about students and about students wanting to write that she creates these enormous opportunities for us, these giant projects that connect writers to their community, and cares enough about why it's important to write, to create these opportunities for us to get out in the community and to do wonderful things for them, and to have us produce publishable works from that also give back to the community. But most recently, I've been touched by the generosity of Dr. Amy Zorski, who I took one 5-week summer course with her before asking her to embark on a very difficult independent study with me, and without question she said absolutely, because she knew I wanted to learn, and that's the only reason she needed to give me an enormous amount of her personal time that she didn't necessarily have to give me. And without question was willing to read a 700-page book on top of our curriculum she was already teaching. So the faculty at Central genuinely wants us to learn, and they want us to understand the importance of believing in ourselves and believing in our own ideas, and they take the time to talk to us personally and to create a relationship with us beyond just the classroom. So I think that is the most important thing I've gotten here is the impact of the education, and that the professors here really care that I want to learn and they want to give me that education.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and introduce the students from Eastern now. Sorry, Paula. And I have a bad job pulling up the time card because I know they'd like to speak, but I'm cutting them off. So, but you'll have time to talk to the students individually after everyone's spoken. So now it's the Eastern students and the alumna is Paula Hansen. Christine Collenbaugh is our graduate student, and Monique Dumaine is an undergraduate at Eastern.
Hi, everybody. I'm Paula Hansen. I graduated in 2012 from Eastern with a visual arts degree. Oh, there's so many wonderful things I could say about Eastern, but I'll start with the story of how I chose Eastern. Excuse me. I had a graphic design background, and then I took quite a bit of time off to have my children and raise my family. Decided to go back to school, went to probably about 3 different schools, picking and poking at different classes, and nobody ever seemed to get what I wanted. And I don't even know if I knew what I wanted. So I made an appointment at Eastern. I spoke with June Bassance. I believe she was chair at the, nope.
She was coordinator.
She was coordinator at the time. Thank you. And I went into her office with my portfolio and a list of skills that I needed after years of job hunting. And immediately, she knew what I wanted. It was great. She said, you can individualize your major, you'll get the skills you need. She was more excited than I was. Her enthusiasm was absolutely contagious. I don't know how she does it. But that's how I started there at Eastern. And taking the classes, I built up my skills. But I think it was more than just skills. I built up my confidence. And Eastern has a very close relationship with the Willimantic community. So the students get to participate in a lot of the community projects. And I had the great opportunity to work with the Willimantic Wildlife Initiative. I designed logos for them. The Willimantic Screen Project, which projected images on the buildings of downtown Willimantic. I did the logo for that and another small piece for that. Thread City Development, I've done some work for. My artwork is in their brochure as well as their website. So without the backing of the faculty and the school, I would have never had these opportunities. So it builds the confidence, and as a designer, to get your work out in the public, that's the success story. So after I graduated, I got a job. I'm working at Artifacts Sign Company up in Bloomfield, Connecticut. It's an award-winning sign company. They do fabulous work, and I'm proud to be part of that. And I have one more thing to add. I'm proud that my son is now a junior at Eastern in the visual arts department. And whatever he decides to do and whatever opportunities he takes advantage of, I know he's in good hands, and it makes me feel good.
Hi, I'm Christine Kohlbach. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm boasting at any point as I read what I've written for tonight, because I truly give so much credit to all of the professors that I've had at Eastern for bringing me to this point. So I chose Eastern to complete my graduate program because I had actually earned my BA here at Central and got married and had children right away, and so I didn't do anything with my degree. And I was a stay-at-home mom for 12 years. And when I was considering going back to work, I said, okay, I have a degree in psychology, where do I want to go with this? And I decided that I wanted to go into teaching. So I looked into the state schools, knowing that the state schools can provide an excellent education if you reach out and grab and take a hold of what there is to offer. Because like any other university or college, you can go to school and get nothing out of it. And so it's what you are willing to accept. And there was an awful lot that was handed to me at Eastern for opportunities. Additionally, I was able to earn my graduate degree without any loans or financial aid, which I could not have done elsewhere. So that was a huge factor in choosing where I was going to go to school. At Eastern, I found that the professors were truly interested in my success. I became friends with almost every professor that I had, which is you don't see in other schools. They were available for additional support and offered advice on ways that I can kind of improve my worth in my career. And along with that, I was able to get additional certifications, like for Project Learning Tree and Moon Rock and Meteorite certification through NASA, which really just puts me above other people who don't have that. So that was really a phenomenal opportunity for me. I was instructed in the most current information about the Common Core state standards and teaching methods that prepared me for changes in the education field that experienced teachers are still grappling with. I think at times I felt like during my student teaching that I actually knew a little bit more than some of those teachers, which was really exciting. I passed the Foundations of Reading assessment on the first try with strong scores, and the Praxis 2 Principles of Learning and Teaching with a score of 193 out of 200. And there's no way that I could have done that without the professor's help. I had above average scores in all 4 subject areas as well, including a score of 199 out of 200 in math. Could not have done it without the support of the professors at Eastern. The opportunities provided to me at Eastern have made my job search very productive. I completed my student teaching and my master's degree in December. I was called for an interview for the first permanent position that I applied for. I went to the interview yesterday. I'm still waiting to hear. Hopefully it's good news. I sent out several other applications as well, and I have received calls for interviews from every single one. Again, that wouldn't have happened without my professors. And one of the most exciting things was that I got a call from one of my host teachers, who is now an assistant principal at the school where I did my clinical. And she offered me a position as a building sub out of the blue. She said, you can be building sub. We have a teacher who's retiring at the end of the year, and we would love for you to slide into that position. And so that came without even applying for it. Because of the excellent leadership and instruction from the professors at Eastern, I've been able to enter schools for interviews with confidence in my abilities and my knowledge, knowing that I am on equal ground with experienced teachers when it comes to the changes in education today. So thank you for listening.
Good evening. My name is Monique Denave, and I'm an undergraduate student at Eastern, and it is an honor to speak before you tonight. My time at this institution has been an incredible journey full of lessons and life-changing experiences. When I first began at Eastern, I was lost and full of uncertainty. I didn't know what I wanted to do at all, and I didn't know what classes to take. But if you asked me at the time, I'd probably deny it because I thought I knew everything. After a short while, I quickly learned that that was not the case. Presented with challenges both in and out of the classroom, my intellect and character were tested in many different ways, and amazing opportunities have been presented to me that have helped me become the person that I am today. This evening, I want to call attention to my involvement with student affairs on campus and my recent adventure to Europe. So the Student Activities Department at Eastern is a benchmark for successful and enriching programming. The opportunities are boundless if a student is seeking to get involved on campus or develop their character. And I took advantage of the tools that were offered to me and experienced a personal transformation. So I'm a participant in the Leap into Leadership program, which is a 3-tiered student leadership series. Over the last 3 years, I have engaged with students and developed dynamic leadership skills, which have applied to the real world through mentoring and other organizations that I belong to, which is like the Campus Activity Board. I'm also a public relations e-board member for College Democrats on campus. And today's leader is versatile, compassionate, and open to new concepts. And that's what I learned from Eastern and a lot of the professors that we've all mentioned on campus. And they're incredible. And every single one that I've come into contact with, I've learned so much from them. And not even just the subject area, but also just about life in general and applying your knowledge that you get from the classroom to the real world. And so it's just incredible being seen as a leader and being able to mentor younger students and having them just have that aha moment of what you want to do with your life. And so I've also been involved with the campus activity board since I started at Eastern, and I started as a street team member where we go out in our highlighter yellow jackets and promote programs, and now I'm actually in charge of that, and I'm a paid employee on campus, and I get to run weekly meetings and further their experience and round it out. So it's just incredible learning the ins and outs of that organization as well. And with that, I actually have an internship in the Student Activities Office now, and I'm the marketing initiative intern there. It was kind of created for me because I want to go into student affairs for higher education, and I also needed an internship for communication. So it kind of all fell into place, and now I get to just do what I love every single day, which is incredible. And I'm currently looking to go to grad school for student affairs as well. So I'll be in college forever, and I'm very excited for that. Lastly, during the spring semester of 2013 last year, I participated in a global field experience. And that means you take a class at Eastern and then you go off to some country. And I actually took an international public relations and advertising class. And we went to London and Paris for a couple of weeks. And it was just an incredible experience. And I was able to apply all the knowledge that I got in class and see it come to fruition in all the agencies we went to and all the museums. And it was just incredible. So, and yet again, I experienced another wave of self-growth. And I encourage anyone to go abroad if you haven't yet. So you're all still young, you all have a chance. And I honestly attribute my personal success to Eastern, and I'm grateful for all the tools that I've been provided with. And I came to Eastern without a clear sense of direction or purpose, and now I know exactly where I'm going and what I want to do and how I'm going to get there. So, and just Eastern is the reason for that. And my father also went to Eastern. He's a proud graduate, so I'm just kind of following in the footsteps of that. So we love Eastern. And
Thank you. I had to let Money continue because I'm from Eastern. All right, now I would like to introduce the students and alumna from Southern. And Allison Bass is the alumna, and Vina Walker is the graduate student, and Caitlin Hansen is an undergraduate at Southern.
Hi, I'm Allison Bass, and my journey at Southern started in 2008, but to kind of understand how important Southern is to me, I need to go back a few years. So, in 2006, I was living in North Carolina, and I was engaged to be married. Very happy time in my life. And one day, sadly, I came home and found my fiance dead unexpectedly, and my 6-year-old daughter was there beside him. So I ended up moving to Connecticut kind of on a whim. I really didn't know what to do with my life. I knew one person here, and I pretty much was just very desperate. So I moved to Connecticut, and about a year later, I started graduate school. And 3 weeks before I started grad school, my 19-year-old brother passed away from a drug overdose. So I started grad school as a single mom with financial constraints, time constraints. I had no idea what to expect in grad school, as I think most people who start grad school find out. It's like, what is this? A little bit craziness. And really, really dealing with grief on a huge level. So I felt completely lost on how to navigate grad school, but also how to navigate life in general. I was really devastated. It was the lowest point of my life. It didn't take very long at all for faculty to start reaching out to me. I think it was within the first few weeks. I was in an English class with Bar Navarro, and we were studying World War II poetry, which was really sad. It was about a lot of students, a lot of soldiers dying at young ages, and she kind of picked up and was very intuitive about my grief and reached out to me. And so that's how my conversation with a lot of the faculty got started, and it went on from there. Fast forward to the next semester, I needed a signature from the chair of the department, Dr. Shea, and I went in to try to get that, and he was very adamant about knowing who I was and what I was like, and that conversation ultimately resulted into me being able to receive counseling services from Southern. It is so hard to wrap up in 3 minutes the impact that Southern has had on my life. But after several years of going to counseling there, graduating with my master's in English and the advanced certificate in women's studies, I can't even begin to explain how amazing and how much it has changed my life. I'm finishing up my second one-year appointment teaching at Southern, so I teach in the inquiry program, the FYE program, and also in the English department. And it is such an honor to teach Southern students, to give the gift that was given to me of belief and support and just believing in their success to them, to my students, to pass that along and to know and to look at them and say, I know that you can make it here because I made it here, and let me help you find those resources that you need to survive here in college. I'm a really resilient person, so I think I probably would have eventually figured it out as far as kind of how to navigate life. But anyone in here who is a parent knows that you don't have a lot of time to eventually figure something out. So that being said, I really, really believe that Southern not only changed my life, but changed my daughter's life. And I hope that I get the opportunity to continue teaching in the Consky system forever and ever and ever. I love it here. Thank you guys.
Hi, my name is Bina Walker, and I'm the graduate student at Southern Connecticut State University. Both my husband and I are actually in graduate school. He is at the Yale Trinity School, and I'm in graduate school. So my mom, who's with my baby over there, actually moved with us all the way from Seattle. And so this has been such a wonderful experience for the whole entire family. As many of you know who have your doctorates or your master's degrees, going into a graduate program in a whole entire other state is a completely just different experience, and it takes a while to adjust, and Southern has just been so amazing for the adjustment. My department, I work in the Women's Studies department. I'm pursuing my master's in Women's Studies, and so I'm a graduate assistant there. And, my boss has been so amazing, and even the administration, financially, everybody has just been so open to answer questions. And a real struggle that I have had ever since I actually became pregnant was, what am I going to do when I got to breastfeed my kid, when she has to eat. And so this has been my struggle for about a year now. She's one, and Southern has just been so flexible and open to my nursing schedule, which I know sounds ridiculous, but if you're a mom, you understand what I'm talking about. And I really appreciate that about Southern. I mean, the classes have just been so amazing and rigorous and challenging, and I really, really enjoy them. And, I'm a Seattle girl, my husband's a Seattle man, and going from city to city has been awesome, and we love the East Coast. Everyone's so nice, and it's an honor to be at Southern, and I love the program, and thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Caitlin Hansen, and I'm a sophomore at Southern Connecticut State University. My major is physics with a concentration in engineering. I grew up in Hampton, Connecticut, and I attended Hampton High School. And my senior year of high school, when I was applying to colleges, originally Southern Connecticut did not make my list. But among a few different reasons, the main reason why I ultimately ended up at Southern was my acceptance into the honors program. The Honors College at Southern has offered me a unique experience for my undergraduate career, one that I don't believe I could have received at any other university. What sets the Honors College apart from other programs at the school or at other universities are that how the classes are taught and the experiences that the classes provide are truly unique. As a student in the Honors College, I'm required to take 2 honors classes every semester for my first 2 years of school, and then my junior year, I'll take a research seminar class to prepare my thesis my senior year. So far in my undergraduate career, it's the honors courses that I've taken each semester that have been not only some of the most beneficial courses, but some of the most enjoyable ones. So the honors courses at Southern are taught kind of differently than other classes. Each course is centered around a particular theme that can be applied to many different disciplines. And then each course is actually team taught by professors from different departments, and therefore they use their own background to try to teach the theme of the course. So it's this aspect of the honors program that I truly enjoy and look forward to get the different perspectives. For my freshman year, I took an intensive writing course that was actually team taught by someone in the English department and the math department. So as a physics major, I really appreciated having someone there who kind of understood how my brain worked to teach me about writing. So that was actually very helpful. But what I love most about the courses in the Honors College is that they expand far beyond the limits of the classroom. Through these courses, I've had experiences that I don't believe I could have had at any other school. My freshman year, I took a course called The Research Act, which was a 2-semester long course. And in the first semester, students basically got to go out into the environment and then isolate this bacteriophage. For any science majors out there, that's a virus that lives in the soil. And then the second semester, we actually got to annotate the DNA. So all the students who took this course are actually published authors for the National Center for Biotechnology. And as someone who's interested in the sciences, I thought this was a really cool accomplishment to have as a freshman. And then a lot of kids in the class also weren't science majors, so that was a big accomplishment for them to achieve. But for me, the course didn't end at the conclusion of the semester. I actually got to go with my professor to the 5th annual Howard Hughes Medical Institute seminar in Ashburn, Virginia this summer. And there I got to present a research poster that I had prepared. And I even received an honorable mention, which was just a wonderful educational experience that I'm grateful that I got to have. And I would not have been able to have if I had attended a different school. The Honors College, although not every course allows students to become published authors, it really, the relationships that you build, not only with the teachers or with the professors, but also with the students, is something that I'm really grateful for, and I can't wait to take more honors classes and more other classes at Southern.
And now the students and alumnus from Western will speak, and unfortunately the undergraduate student Emma Alonia has caught one of those things that's going around, so she's ill and won't be able to make it tonight, but we do have Shamar Lam and Corey Philip Harris, who is a graduate student.
Good evening. Just a disclaimer, if you hear me quiver in my voice, it's not because I'm nervous, because I'm cold. I'm actually a man of the tropics. I'm from Jamaica, and I made that point because I came here as a child, and part of it is a big culture shock. So pretty much through my adolescent life, I was pretty misguided. As Michael said, when he was in high school, he kind of coasted. And same with me, I coasted. I didn't really have much guidance in terms of education until I went to WestCon. I actually found WestCon through my guidance counselor, and through WestCon I was accepted on the condition that I had to participate in the EAP program. And if no one's familiar with that, it stands for Education Access and Achievement Program. What that is it's a program that prepares students that are essentially prepared ready for college. In all, it's 5 weeks boot camp. It's tough. It puts you through math and English and I believe psychology at the time when I did it. It was really tough, but it prepared me. And I think the benefit of that was that it really made me understand that through college, it's not about how smart you are. It's about how you can really access the resources available to you. And that's what WestCon offered to me. I was able to go to writing labs and math labs, late at night, anything that was available. Never had struggle. And part of that was also part of the big staff, the great staff of WestCon. It seems like there's a theme here that everyone on the panel discusses, is that at Central all of Connecticut schools, there's just a great faculty. And I actually got to experience that as well. I had great faculty in my study of education, which was history and education, to be a teacher. part of the reason why I'm here tonight is because Ishmael Diaz and Carmen Coleman were actually the director and the advisor of the EAP program, respectively. And they kept in touch with me from EAP as a student, even in post-college life, and they just really helped me, guide me whenever I needed help. And just a little about me is that I went to WestCon. I did the EAP program. I studied history, education. Like I said, I did my student teaching at Danbury High School. I was also a resident assistant at WestCon for 3 years. And throughout all of that, I just really got a great experience of what it means to be a leader. I was a very shy kid growing up, very introvert, but through all the experience that I had at WestCon with the faculty and the programs, it really thrust me into being a leader. And that was something that I tried to present to when I was an RN to my residents, and also when I worked at the EAP program as a counselor. The program meant so much to me that I actually wanted to give back to it and let the other kids and students see that, give more to college and just go to class and, breaks and then party. And there's so much more to do. I really got that experience through WestCon. That's pretty much how I summed it up my life. But I really had a great experience at WestCon. And I think, and I can see from everybody else here at the Connecticut schools, they had the same experience. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Western Connecticut State University, for me, and for so many others, has always been, and again will remain, the cradle of opportunity for all those who seek to have a higher education experience there. I grew up in a family that prided itself on public service and commitment to others. My mother and my stepfather were very, very abusive, emotionally, physically, sometimes mentally. So for me, what they were telling me is that I had to settle for a blue-collar job and I would never essentially mount up to very much. I remember leaving 3 days after my 18th birthday to move back to Kansas. And I remember I had $10 to my name and one bag of clothes. And my mother, in retaliation, decided never to send the rest of my belongings to Kansas and that I had to start all over again. And so all of my clothes came from Goodwill and hand-me-downs from my cousins who did pretty okay. And I remember putting myself firmly through school with the help of my grandmother. As time went on and things got a little bit better, I decided it was time for me to break off and be by myself. Of all the places in the world that I chose was Connecticut. My grandmother had a fit, simply because she saw a lot of citizens of Connecticut on the news in a snowstorm, and she cried for weeks and sent long underwear for 6 months. I'm waiting on a box for this month, but that has not yet come. Western was wide open with family, with friends, with opportunities. The first day I sat in a classroom at Western, my professor asked me what I thought about globalization. I looked around and I said, "You want my opinion?" And he said, "Yes." He said, "Is there something wrong with that?" I said, "Yeah, in my family, the women don't allow the men to say anything because we go on for hours." He said, "We only have about 45 minutes till class is over. I'm pretty sure other people want to say some things." But that opportunity to sit and to have someone ask your opinion on issues, to actually want to hear how you felt about it. They didn't teach you, they didn't say that you had to learn this way, that you have to think this way. They asked you how you wanted to think and how you felt about things. The education really was what you made it. The cradle of opportunity continued at Western, not just for myself, but for friends. People who don't have homes, that sleep in the student center sometimes because they fall asleep while studying, and mothers of single children who take their children to our child care center right across the street, and even some students who, like myself, have to do internships out in New York City that are fantastic opportunities. Last year, after going through a rigorous background check with the United States Secret Service, I had the opportunity to take a train every morning at 6:50 a.m. on the dot to New York City, I would always fall asleep on some random person at White Plains. Sometimes they even brought me a donut if it was the same person in the same week. But when I got to the office, and I sat in staff meetings, and all the staff members were told to be quiet because the former president of the United States wanted your opinion on what he should do about women and children's health issues in Latin America. That's when you know that Western was the cradle of opportunity for all young men and women across this country. And I think that's what we have to get back in the mindset of. All of our CSUs are the cradle of opportunity for all of our students all across this country. And why shouldn't it be? We have an affordable education system, we have great staff and faculty members, and we have a great family that people are ready to join. And I think that we must continue pressing toward the mark of higher education and making it affordable and equitable for all of our students who seek it. Thank you very much.
All right, so now we have a few minutes. I wonder if any of you have questions that you would like to ask of any of our speakers. So if you do, just stand up, shout, and also direct your question by name to the student or alum. Nada? Yes? Oh, Julian?
Yes, this is for really anyone to answer. And one of the things that I do as a faculty member, I would like to sort of hear what some of you may have to say, is this notion that some people have about college and preparation for jobs. It's something that I find totally wrong. What to you is college about?
Any get a taker over there?
Thanks for that question. It's a great question. For me, college was absolutely preparation for every aspect of my happiness. It has taught me how to come to a room like this and speak to people that I respect and hope that they can respect me as well when I am speaking. It has taught me how to guide my 14-year-old through a really tough thing called being a teenager. The parents in here know what I'm talking about. It taught me how to go out and advocate for myself so that I can find what I need in life to obtain the happiness that I want. And lastly, it has taught me how to have the hope in my own students that I can teach them skills in life that won't necessarily be only applied to just the classroom, but also to them finding their own happiness in life as well.
Would anyone else like to respond?
When I went back to graduate school, I'd been a stay-at-home mom for 12 years, and after being secluded in a house with 2 children for 12 years, it was very, my self-confidence was very, very low. I would go out in public and talk with people, and I would go back and reflect afterwards and say, was I just socially appropriate? Because I don't even know what that is anymore. So being a graduate student really, it gave me opportunities to rebuild that confidence that had been lost over the years while I was really spending a lot of time educating my children, but not having the adult conversations. And being in graduate school provided me that opportunity, almost like a bridge, so that when I can get back into the workforce, I know that I'm speaking with intelligence, and I can speak with confidence that I actually know what I'm talking about, instead of just kind of muddling through and faking it till I make it, because I feel like I actually know what I'm doing.
So.
I have a general question for any of you too. What would you want the Board of Regents, this is set up so that you can sort of speak to them, what would you like them to be able to do or say with the general public for you? they're your spokespeople in a sense. I mean, and when I say for you, I don't mean you as an individual, but for students, or for the CSUs.
I would like them to say that CSU, or students who go to CSU schools, are capable of literally anything because of the tools that we are given inside and outside of the classroom. And we don't just, gather knowledge in class and, go home. We grow as individuals and truly foster who we want to be and find our purpose in life. And just having that epiphany moment of what you want to do in your life is just indescribable. And that's what I got from my experience at Eastern so far. And so just everybody cares about you at Eastern and Central and Southern and WestCon, and you're not just a number, and we are going to be very productive members of society. So I'm looking forward to everything we're going to do.
If I could, I think what's most important is that the Board of Regents would say that we are students' first choice. And that's important because I think sometimes we run away from that. I'm not sure if we really take that and really say, yes, the CSUs in this school, in this system are the students' first choice. I hear a lot of students at our school say this all the time, and we've stopped them from saying that Western was their second choice. They really didn't want to go to Western. Western was just in their backyard. But you know what? For a lot of other people, that's not the case. They go far, and they really go far in the sense that they've come a lot of miles from home, and not only that, they go far in the sense of how they learn, what they learn, what tools and resources they learn from, and what they use with those tools and resources after they leave here. It puts us on the cutting edge of education all over the country.
Some come all the way from Kansas.
I ask myself every morning.
I'm sorry, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I think what the Regents can do for the students is to support the faculty and support the staff. Every single person who sat up here commented on how wonderful the staff was, and I couldn't agree with them more. And sometimes the staff uses non-traditional methods to get their points across, or I'll give an example. The projection project, the Willimantic Screen Project, is a pretty non-traditional thing to do, and there were things to be purchased for it and support for that. So I think if you support your staff and the methods that they want to use to teach and get across to the students, that's what is important.
Yes, Truman.
Well, one, I'd like to thank you for sharing your stories. From listening to your stories, it seems like all 4 campuses gave you the opportunity to engage your communities where the universities are located. And I was just wondering, did you all decide to stay in Connecticut, or do you intend to stay in Connecticut after graduation? And how have the institutions enabled you to give back after you graduate? Anybody?
Okay, can you hear me? Oh, there we go. Not to answer all the questions, but sorry. I just wanted to say that I lead my daughter's Girl Scout troop, and it has been such an amazing experience to be able to give back through Southern to my daughter's Girl Scout troop. I have met so many amazing people, amazing faculty, amazing students. One of my first semester students that I taught at Southern is now my assistant for my troop, which is really awesome. It's been a great opportunity for her. She's in the education major. So it's been great for her, meeting all kinds of different people to come speak to my Girl Scouts and helping my Girl Scouts know, just like my friend down here at the end was just saying, that the Connecticut schools can be and should be, for many people, a #1 choice. I think that really happens in my troop, just talking to my girls who are middle schoolers, late middle schoolers, talking to them about already thinking about college you're going to college, where are you going? Let's talk about state schools. So that's one aspect.
So I went to law school in Boston, and I left law school with $100,000 in debt, none of which came from Central. And the understanding was that I would just go to work in New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles, where they pay you a whole lot of money and it goes away really fast. I didn't interview in any of those cities. I interviewed only in Hartford, Connecticut, and candidly, the biggest hurdle I had in finding a good job in Connecticut was convincing those firms that they were my first choice. The reason I did that is because Connecticut is my home. And one of the greatest things about my education at Central was how much it focused on this state. I have a degree, my majors were political science and American history. Both of those majors focused on very specific aspects of Connecticut that made me so proud to be from this state and part of this state that there was no other option for me in terms of where I was going to make my home and where I was going to practice law. And really, it's no accident that now I represent towns and schools. I told you I was explaining Connecticut history to a town council last night. As far as the debt goes, I figured that all out too. You marry a doctor.
I'm from Hartford, so hearing the idea of whether or not I would leave or stay in the state is one of those funny things, because before I was even thinking about going into a higher education, I thought about how I was going to be able to afford this stuff, how was I going to even be able to muster up the strength and endurance to continue on my education after high school. I went to Buckley, and that was sort of the reason why I joined the Armed Forces, the National Guard and the Reserves separately. But to answer your question, I would definitely stay in Connecticut, stay in the Hartford area, because this is who I am. I've traveled to a lot of different states with the reserves, and I've traveled overseas, and this is home. This is where I want to leave my mark of changing the community for the better. I have nieces and nephews and family members that look at me as their guide to, how to better themselves in this area. I'm the only one right now that has ever gone to graduate school in my whole family. That may change.